Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and more Diablo 4. With Season 9 underway, you might be hitting that point now where you need to really focus in on the Paragon points. So what's the best method to blast Paragon XP this season? Well, as you can see, I'm a little bit behind this season due to some personal reasons. I've just started grinding, but thanks to my foreknowledge, I was able to reach a pretty decent point here, just shy 130 Paragon points in one full day of play. I'm pretty pleased with that, but I do think it's important to remind you guys now that while some content isn't going to be the best for XP specifically, it's still important. You know, you've got unique drops, the season journey progression, unlocking your powers and getting them upgraded, but I will still order things worst to best by XP and reference that important stuff as we go. How do we know which is better or worse? Well, I just tested everything in the same Torment level with the same XP increases and checked my XP at the start and end of everything. Then I compared that to how long it took to do it, and that brought me to these conclusions. Before you do anything, you need to consider your XP increases. So you start with the Alchemist and you go to Advanced Elixirs and pick up something here. You've got 30 minutes of 8% increased XP. That's important. Then you also have Incense, which you want to have running all the time when you're doing this. It's another 5% there. In the middle of regular dungeons and nightmare dungeons, you might find an experience well. This will provide you a buff for 60 minutes that you can take out of that content and to other places where you might actually have better XP. It's 15% XP increase for 60 minutes, so it's very good to find and then take to like the optimal location. Also for XP, we do have the new Nightmare Dungeon Sigil update. They're obviously a top priority for the devs this season with things like the Strongrooms and escalations. But the most important XP mod you can find on Sigil is this one, Forgotten Wisdom. Basically, it just means these golden XP orbs start dropping from all the kills, so you make sure you run over them and pick that XP up. It sucks that pets don't automatically pick this up for you, but for now, you gotta do it yourself. It's not a big XP increase, you just take it whenever you can. You can find this mod during escalations though, and so it's good to know. Let's start with the Nightmare Dungeons themselves. You're going to be doing Nightmare Dungeons for one main reason, and that is for this, horadric Strongroom. The Strongroom is an extra bit of content that you probably already understand. Killing mobs, getting extra rewards, and potentially unlocking your new powers, and upgrading them too. So we're going to be doing that whether we like it or not. How good are Nightmare Dungeons? Compared to other content that I was doing, I was able to blast it pretty quick, but it doesn't encourage proper XP farming. That's because you need to go objective to objective rather than clearing every pack you see. In many cases, it's better just to run past and get the thing you're there for, like finding the strong room and doing that. Strong rooms themselves are decent XP because you go pack to pack at the different locations and then you fight the boss at the end. But again, this is a lot about other rewards. Things like getting the horadric cash at the end, unlocking escalation sigils from it, the new power drops. So it's simply okay experience, far from the best, and I wouldn't do it for specifically that. Next, we got to talk about the Undercity. And for experience on this one, you have the Tribute of Growth as always. Basically what this means is at the end of the run, you have a bunch of XP orbs from the final chest after the boss. Cool. But the problem with Undercity is that it encourages objective play, not maximized XP play. Be running past a lot of packs to get to the objectives, fill the overall bar, and get out. The reward at the end is the most important thing in the Undercity, and that's set by your tribute. So for the growth one, the XP orbs are nice, but clearly it's not a massive amount, not competitive enough for this purpose. But I'm definitely not saying ignore Undercity. There's all kinds of tributes, like these ones that are going to give me guaranteed ancestral legendaries at the end. They've been buffed in general for runes, but this specific one, Harmony for runes, is going to be a top tier source of them. You're basically going to go there for different reasons, based on what tribute you've found and are going to use. So you're still going to go to the Undercity when you're doing those things, but it's still not the best for XP. Next up, we have the new sigils here, the Escalation sigils, which you might find after doing a strong room. Basically, we're doing these in Torment difficulty. We pop the sigil and ultimately do 3 Nightmare Dungeons back to back with increasing difficulty that continues to stack up. At the portal, you see what's coming, the new affixes that are going to be positive and negative. Again, what's cool about this is you might get that affix that causes XP drops from all the mobs to pick up, so that's going to be great in this context. And you can find the experience wells in these runs for the run of the escalation and then other content after. So if the RNG is in your favor, it can be extra good for XP in here. But the run itself is probably going to take you somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes, depending on how super fast you're blasting it. And it's ultimately 3 Nightmare Dungeons, which you could do outside of an escalation. You do have the boss Astaroth at the end, who provides really good rewards at the end. Whether you're getting insane drops like uniques, ancestrals, or otherwise good aspects and drops, the materials, potential power unlocks, you might find strong rooms in the dungeons you're running. They're incredibly valuable and important content outside of XP purposes. So they're kind of unavoidable, but sometimes they can be pretty decent. That brings us to the top content for XP purposes then, starting with the classic pits, which is what we're doing to unlock the torments and upgrade our glyphs as well. The pits are peak XP content because the whole point of it is to kill as many mobs as possible to spawn the portal that takes you to the boss. Killing the enemies in their really well-defined packs and grouping them up and blasting them really effectively is super efficient. Then at the end, when you kill the boss, you get this massive boost of XP that's absolutely nuts. If you're doing this right, you'll be doing the highest pit level that you can while still clearing it in great time. I would say a safe rule is, are you clearing it in 5 minutes or less? If it's taking longer than that, maybe you're on too high of a pit level. But you can absolutely blast this in 2 to 3 minutes with a proper build and real setup. For me, I was doing the highest pit tier I could do before Torment 3 earlier today. So that was pit level 39. And then just a couple hours later, I was doing pit levels 54, which is the highest Torment 3 before Torment 4 level you can do. This was ultimately the most efficient XP that I did in all of the different tests that I was doing. Pits is so unbelievably kitted towards blasting and getting the XP as well as that burst at the end that it makes complete sense. What's great about that is you're going to be leveling up your glyphs and getting big power spikes through doing that as well. So if you're at a point where, you need Paragon levels, it'd be the #1 thing to do. But there is one other option that's very reasonable, and that is doing your hordes, Infernal Hordes. You might get a compass that's wave 6, 8, or 10, and the most valuable obviously is the 10 wave. So you do Infernal Hordes on the highest torment tier you can, with the highest wave amount possible with a compass. You need to be blasting everything where it's dying basically instantly for this to be maximum efficient. You can't really be slowed down because it's 1 minute per wave, but if you want better XP and better rewards, you need to dominate it to get as much aether for the rewards at the end, but also so you're killing as many mobs as possible. If you're in a build that constantly struggles with permanent packs of mobs, then it's nowhere near as good, right? At the end, you're going to need 200 aether for the grand chest for insane drops, ancestrals, uniques, and then the rest of your aether should go into the masterworking mats and gem resources, which has a lot of value there too. The problem with Infernal Hordes right now is the fact that it doesn't have any unique special rewards. You can get those masterworking mats and the gem resources elsewhere, like the escalations and nightmare dungeons. But in the nightmare escalations, you have the same thing, but all the other sources of power at the same time. That's why it's harder to recommend Infernal Hordes. However, it takes about 15 minutes and the XP is still really good, especially if you're blasting. And the rewards are still very useful. Right, so that brings us to our conclusion. For maximum XP, it appears to be all about the pits, with Infernal Horde as a second option. But again, all of this is only in the scenario where you're destroying that content. Overall, it's going to be more reliable to do pits because nothing's stopping you from loading into those. It's fast to start to finish. You just simply won't have like a 10 wave horde compass all the time. On the other hand, you have the new nightmare escalations, which are so valuable for lots of reasons. They can have good XP potential if you got the XP affix and maybe an experience well, but their purpose is spread across many reasons. Materials, masterworking, whatever, the power systems for the season, the recipes for the new gems. You might get lucky with a strong room mid-run and then get another escalation sigil while you're doing one right now. So escalations must be done, even if they're not the literal best XP, but they're not terrible either, which is a relief. The real horror is when you have no escalation sigils and you're stuck running normal strong rooms just to get some. Special mention in this conclusion again to Undercity though, which you should still do whenever you have a high value tribute for something that matters. I hope this overview gives you the confidence to pick and choose which content you're going to do then, and why, with all that in mind. If it has helped, be sure to drop a like. But for now, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.